welcome back to our channel. So I want to explain what's happened in the past few weeks. For me, I know that I was gonna do a day in the life last Tuesday. But as I was doing it, I was realizing two things. One, I don't have a life. I literally don't do anything. I do pretty much everything when my husband is home from deployment. All I do is school and clean. And so I was being super fake and trying to show that I have an exciting life when I really don't. So I decided not to do it. And then the second thing is I've been sick. I actually got back from the ER a week ago, not a week ago, an hour ago. And so I had a really bad migraine, so the lights are hurting, but I'm on medication, and I just woke up from a nap because the Benadryl kicked in. And I know that I look like a mess, and I really don't care because I just got back from 5 hours in the ER. But anyway, so today I'm gonna talk about something that's very close to my heart, and I may cry. So this thing is the reason that I knew my husband was the one for me. So I'm going to take it back a few years. This was almost 3 years ago. August 21st, 2015. I was 15 years old, and we were on me and my family were on vacation. And my dad died. Having your dad die when you're 15, it's really hard. Your life falls apart pretty quickly. So my dad died of a freak accident. It was about 11 a.m. and me and him and my best friend at the time were on a hike in the park, Shenandoah National Valley. And he decided he wanted to take a picture. We were at Dark Hollow Falls. And he wanted to look down at the waterfall and take a picture. And he slipped and fell. He died on impact. Shortly after impact, the cause of death was blunt force trauma and drowning. That was it. In June I turned 15, and 2 months later my dad was dead. He died a week before school started. And I didn't want to go to school, but I did anyway. The emotions of having a parent die, they come and go. For a while there, I was for that first week, I didn't feel anything. So what happened is he died on a Friday. He had to go to a coroner in Manassas. And the same day that he died, some murder victims came in, so they couldn't do his autopsy till the following Monday or Tuesday, because on Tuesday his body was picked up. My mom went to pick up my dad. I couldn't go. I just couldn't deal with that. But my mom and my brothers went to pick him up and bring him to the funeral home. That Friday Thursday was the viewing. It was just for immediate family members and friends. So I went to that. And then on Friday was the funeral for everybody. My dad was cremated. Every one of his kids and my mom and I believe my dad's brother have some of his ashes, so he was cremated. Um, so that's kind of the events right after. When someone tells you that it gets better, you expect it to just be an incline, so it gets better one day after another and you never have a setback, which is wrong. Grief is not just a straight shot from grieving to feeling better. There are days where the first day of school, I think it was August 30th or 31st, it was a Monday last week in August, and I was in the stage called acceptance. But then, like, when I went to school, that's where I was, and within 2 hours, I was done. And I was angry and upset. The stages are, first you have denial, where you don't believe it. Then you have depression and anger. And then you have bargaining. And then you have acceptance. Well, technically it's denial, bargaining, anger, depression, acceptance, in that order, but it really doesn't happen in that order. So that's what, I mean, my emotions were all over the place. Every single Friday for the first like 4 or 5 months, I did not go to school. Or I went to school and I had my mom pick me up by 11 because my dad died at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. And let's just, so right when my dad, so a lot of people never think of this, but after my dad died, I gained 50 to 80 pounds. And when he died, I was 160 pounds. And when I went in for my 16-year-old checkup, I was 220. And that was after I started losing weight. So that was hard for me. One of my biggest coping skills is exercise. And so he died in August, and in October I had my first of 2 shoulder surgeries. And so up to that surgery, I couldn't exercise, I couldn't lift weights, I couldn't swim, couldn't play softball. And then after my surgery, I pushed myself way too hard and tried to get back into swimming even though my doctor told me not to. And I tore 3 of my ligaments, and I had to get everything fixed again. And then instead of an arthroscopic surgery, which is where there's just little holes and cameras, they had to cut me open. They had just to do the surgeon open. So I have a huge scar on my shoulder, and that happened in March. So pretty much from June of 2015 to December of 2016, I couldn't do any exercise. So that made losing weight a lot harder. As I said, I did start losing weight in April or May of 2016, but that was mostly because I had physical therapy to get my shoulder better, and I started eating right. For a while there, I was using food as coping skills. So all I did was eat pizza and fried chicken 24/7. Like, that's all I ate. I ate no fruit, I ate no vegetables. Well, I did eat fruit and vegetables, but I ate way too much of it, along with the pizza, fried chicken, chocolate, chips, candy. So my husband is in the Navy. He's been in San Diego since January of 2015, and he came home on leave in December of 2015, and I know this because my goddaughter was already born. She was born in November. But we had a party for him, and I put a party together for him, and everybody was downstairs, and I went upstairs because there comes to a point where you can handle crowds, you can handle parties, but you can only handle so much. And so I had a complete mental breakdown, and I went upstairs into my room. Mind you, I didn't clean my room, I didn't take care of myself, so my room was a mess. And at that point, my dad's ashes wasn't split between my mom, my 3 siblings, and my uncle. He was just in one container because we were going to go spread his ashes at the place he died, which we did. And I believe March or April of 2016. It was during spring break. But he came upstairs, and I was just literally bawling my eyes out, curled up around my dad's ashes. And he didn't say anything, but he like climbed in to bed with me and just sat there and let me cry. I was bawling my eyes out. I did that a lot, and he did exactly what I wanted him to do, which was just be there. A lot of guys, when something's wrong with the girl, they want to fix it. They just need to fix it. They want to make it all better, and sometimes you just can't do that. Sometimes you need to shut up and listen. And that's exactly what he did. And he was there for me every step of the way. And he made it a lot easier. One thing I can tell you about having a parent die when you're still in school is, I'm going to tell you something. My school didn't do shit for me. My teachers were some shit. Counselor didn't do shit for me. They actually were going to make me repeat the 10th grade. Now, if you personally know me, you know that I skipped a grade and graduated early. I skipped junior year. And there's only one person in the entire school that two people in the entire school that made that happen. My counselor was a person named Mr. Quiros, and first off, he didn't understand anything that I told him. He just didn't want to listen to me. And he's like, well, you're not going to class, so you're going to lose credit, and you're going to have to repeat the 10th grade. And so I was like, you know what, screw this, I don't like you. And so I went to the counselor that was in charge of all the other counselors, and she only took special cases. So she took on my case, and I looked at her, I was like, dude, I need to take one, if I pass, because I was passing my classes. I had all A's in every single one of my classes. It's just that I didn't go. And so I was like, look, I have all A's, I'm still learning the material. It's just that I can't handle it because my dad died. And so she's like, all right, let's work together. And so she worked with me and my teachers, and I was like, look, I looked at the transcript, I did the math, I need one class my senior year. If I do all 4 years, I'm gonna take one class, I'm gonna be bored as hell. I was like, can I do this in 3 years? And she's like, well, let's talk to your mom. And I talked to my mom, and she said, sure, let's do this in 3 years, it makes sense. And so she signed the papers, took an online class, and graduated early. The only other person that has been there through me, I was an NJROTC, and so we call her Mama Chief, but she was the naval science instructor, one of them. And then, so her name's Chief Sharon Rogers, and let me tell you, she is a mom. To all of her students, she is a total mom. I went into that room so many times to bawl my eyes out and call my mom and just cry. And I could go there anytime I wanted to get out of class. I could go there for pretty much anything, and she wouldn't say it. So she would just say, like, all right, cool, what do you need? What do you want me to do? She was a total mom. She was my mom away from home. And she's also another reason why the only reason why I graduated early. But for me, when my husband asked me to marry him last year, 2016, in November, obviously I said yes, but I love him to death, and a lot of people, for some reason, don't, well, I don't like someone based off of their looks alone. Like, I think my husband is the prettiest person in the world. He's mine and he's my sexy. Like, he's mine. But to some people, he's not. And I'm like, that's cool. That's your potatoes. I don't care. Like, you like one type, I like another. But my husband, he's funny. He's smart. He tries to fix things a lot, but he knows when to do that and when not to do that. And so after my dad died, before my dad died, I had a ton of friends. Well, I thought I had a ton of friends. And when my dad died, I'm telling you, everybody left. No one wanted to talk to me. No one wanted to talk to the girl who lost her dad. The freshmen that year knew me as the girl whose dad died. So that sucked. So I knew exactly who my friends were. I made my best friend. She's my best friend today. Her name is Ingrid. I love her with all my heart. But I figured out exactly who my friends were. And I knew that a lot of the people who I thought were nice to me really weren't. And he was. My husband was my rock. Because not only was I grieving, so was my mom. And my mom had a very hard time with it. My mom was married to my dad for 25 plus years, like a quarter of a century. My mom was married to this guy. And so she was grieving just as much as I was, and neither of us could function. And so, like, I had to be there for my mom. She tried to be there for me, but my husband was the one who was there for me the most. So that's why I love my husband. Well, no. I love my husband for many reasons, but that's the main reason that kind of was like, okay, he's the one. And that's kind of when we started talking. I started dropping major hints, like, not just like, maybe I kind of want to spend the rest of my life with. No, I straight up told him, I want to marry you. Like, he doesn't take hints at all. So I was dropping some major hints. And he was like, oh, okay, maybe I should. Like, yeah. And so he, like, took it. Him and his friend went out to pick up my rings. He came home. He spoiled it. And I knew he was proposing because he can't keep a secret. But he proposed. And that's another story. But, I mean, that's the story of how my dad died. I mean, I really don't know what to say. So if you have any like specific questions, you can ask them. I'm pretty open about it. There's so much to tell, and I don't want to make this an extremely long video. So if you have any like specific questions, drop them in the comments below, or you can private message me, and if there's an abundance of questions, I'll do another video. If not, I'll just reply to you. But yeah, so that's just kind of my grief story. There's a lot more to it, but I'm already hitting like the 19-minute mark. So I'm just gonna stop it here. I'll probably make another video on it, but stay tuned because I have a couple videos coming up soon. But yeah, so keep liking, subscribing, share, comment, and yeah, so I will see you guys soon. Bye.